Welcome you back again to another video lecture on C++ programming language, and in this video lecture, I'll go ahead and introduce you to arrays in C++. Alright, so as a beginner in C++ programming, you might be confused on what arrays are and what do we do with array. So arrays, as we all know, or as a beginner and in layman's understanding, is used to store collection of data, but it's mostly data of the same variables and of the same type. Okay, so if you want to store data of integer variables, you go ahead and install only integer variables in the array. Or if you want to install double floats or character or strings, so the collection of the data must be of the same variable type. Alright, so that is the very first thing that is important. So that means if you want to store that, you have a type. Is that integer? Is that float? Is that character or string? Anyone? Then you have to declare the array by specifying the type of the element and the number of the elements that is going to be involved and the name of the array. Alright, so the next one is the array name. So once you've given the array name, then you go ahead and give the size. Let's say we can put like something like a 7 or 8 or 10 or 100 or 1 million. Alright, so depending on what you are doing, then you go ahead and initialize your array, and to initialize the array, you will use the curly braces. So whatever is inside the curly braces is what will be printed as for you. Alright, so let's go ahead and try to demonstrate that with a simple example of let's int age. Okay, so int is the data type we are working with. If it's not a float, it's not a double, it's not a character, I'm going to look at all this, and let's say the size is 8, and then we have to initialize that, and SIDA we have age of 9, 5, 7, 20, use command to demarcate this. Okay, 13, 15, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, remains 2, 35, and 40. So you've collected these and go ahead and up with semicolon at the end. So this is how you declare and initialize your arrays, and then you can be able to work with the arrays of age. Alright, so in the first array, the first one right here, the 9 has an index of 0, and the 5 has index of 1, and 7 has index of 2, and so on. So the index 0 is the first one, 9, so 9 is not 1. Okay, if you want to use the value of 9, you have to call the index 0 and not index 1. Okay, so another person can declare array of char of name, and let the size be just 3, and let that be equal to, let's say, Peter. Sorry, that is char. So let's say A, comma, B, comma, C. So that is just 3 and put semicolon at the end. So the first one, A, is index 0, and B is index 2, and C is index 3. Sorry, is index 2. A is index 0, B is index 1, and C is index 2. Alright? And the array name is name, and the type is char. So you can do that for string and so on. Even for float, you can still do that for floats. Let's say floats num, and the size is 4. And that is equal to 5.7, 2.9, 0.1, and 4.5, and close that press semicolon at the end. So this is an array. Now let's go ahead and write a simple application or a simple code. Now help us to understand everything about array, because that will help us to see how array works. Okay? So let's start by introducing #include, and we're going to bring in a library, and the library is known as input output. This, alright, the input output num IP. So with this, we're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and say using std. So using std, let's give it a name of set w. So you're going to introduce this library, and this library will help us to print out an arrays. Okay. So comment over inside the main function, we go ahead and initialize the variable of let's say int x of an array of 20. Okay, don't press semicolon. So arrays of 20 integers. So now we have to initialize element of arrays from n to 0. Okay, let's go just below here. Alright, so I'm going to use a for loop, and with a for loop, I'm going to go ahead and say for let's go ahead and initialize some other things like int y, okay, and int z, and press semicolon. So let's say for y equal to 0, and y less than 20, and y increment. Okay, so we go ahead and say array of x of y. So array of x of y is equal to x plus 1000. So we have set the element at location from x plus 1000. So you're going to add to 1000 whatever value and move on. Cross semicolon at the end. So to print that out, so go ahead and say out, and we'll say the value of x. So the value of x, we say x. Then we have to set w. So set w, you go ahead and so let's set that to 14. Okay, so let's set that to 14. and we'll go ahead and print out the X set 14. Okay, I'm trying to put some, let's put X here, and here we put new X. Alright, so put new X right here. These are just a string that will be printed out for us. And go ahead and end line and press semicolon. Now we're going to use another for loop to generate the second one. Okay. So before we continue further, let's go ahead and record what we've done so far. Then, first of all, we use std, and this means set with. Then move this function from here. This is just set w, that is set with. And this is, we initialize the variable of int x with an array of 20 and int y and z. And then we go ahead and create a for loop system that will help us to generate this array from 1 to 20 with corresponding arrays of 1000 with addition of 1 to 8. So it changes to y and not x plus 1000. This is y plus 1000 is we add 1 to 1000 and down to 20. Okay, so you might ask me, what does set w mean? Set w means give space in between x and new x. You can name this to be element x, elements x, and new value x. You can call this new value x, or new values x, anyone. So if I go ahead and generate this, is you give a space of 14 characters, and let's run that so I can be able to teach you this step by step as a beginner. You see that? This is the space it gives. You can see the space here is too small. You can widen the space, like make it 20, and you can see that it's going to look more bigger right now. You can see that the space in between element x and new values have increased. And that same way, if you tend to take it to like 50, let's take it to like 50, run this code, you check it out. You can see that the space is really now big elements here and new value x are here. So let's keep it at 30. And I hope that will be the best. So we can now go ahead and write a for loop system that we have also generated the values. So let's go ahead and leave it there. So what we need to do now is we're going to generate another for loop system that we have also generate these values of 0 to 20 and 1000 to 1020. Alright. So we'll go ahead and say for z equals 0, press semicolon, and z less than 20, press semicolon, that is 0 to 19, and z increment. Then we go ahead and say cout. Cout set w. Now what this means is we're setting the first character to start from the end of the element, so it's coming out line very well. So let's say 1, can put that to be 1 or 2. If I want it to be at the center, I can put like 3. Then I'm going to show us this step by step so you can be able to master that. And you go ahead and set the values of z, that is 0 to 19, and set w. We're going to keep that to be 30 because set w, that is set with, let's keep that to be the same with this one. Alright. So now we go ahead and print out values of x of z. So 1000 to 1019, that is what to be printed out. And end line upper semicolon. So the first z will print 0 to 19, and the arrays of x and z, arrays of x of z will print out from 1000 with addition of 1 to 19. Go ahead and run this code and check it out. So you can see that it's looking good. Now element 0 to 19 and 1000 added to 19. Can you see that? It will add 1 to each of them to 19. So if I go ahead and set, let's go ahead and close this. So if I set W to be equal to 1, it's going to start from the age. Let's go ahead and run this code and check it out. Can you see it start from the age? You went to the end of the line. Alright. So you can keep it back to like a 5 or 4. I just drop it at 4 right now. If you give a space from the end of the line, see that? It gives a space from the end of the line and is looking very good. I hope that is very cool. So now we generated an array of 0 to 19, and we were able to add more elements of 1000 to 19 to 1019 right there. Okay? I hope this is very cool. If you want to just print out only this, you can go ahead and remove this one from here. Okay, you can delete this and come over here and delete this, and you print out just 0 to 19. So you can see that, just print out 0 to 19. I hope that is very cool. So I added that one so you can be able to check out some things. We're going to look more into arrays. So go ahead and put all this back. The code is just very before you play around with it. And in the next video lecture, I'll take you more into arrays. It's a couple of video lectures that we have also to practice array deep into, because as a developer, you always in the array to help you to do some bunch of work and to minimize them. Alright. So thank you so much. And if you have any question, please go ahead and use the question and answer section. And I'm going to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you, and I'm going to see you in the next video lecture.